The Houston Texans might find their offensive coordinator solution in a guy named Charles Edward Kelly, better known to family, friends, and football fans as Chip Kelly, the current Ohio State offensive coordinator. Is it easy to lure him away from college? What to make of the resume from Chip Kelly? Let's get into it. As Chip Kelly, the offensive coordinator for the Ohio State Buckeyes, the Ohio State Buckeyes, is the offensive coordinator candidate we're going to talk about. If you're unfamiliar with Chip Kelly, a quick little history lesson. Obviously was the head coach at Oregon, a tremendous amount of success there. That sends him to the NFL, where he spent 4 years with the Eagles and the 49ers. He got fired in San Francisco after a big disaster, found himself off of the coaching radar for a couple of seasons, back with UCLA as the head coach of the Bruins, and he coached there for 6 seasons before leaving the head coaching job and becoming the offensive coordinator for the Bruins. So let's throw up some of Chip Kelly's stats here and some of the impressive numbers from his time calling offense and talk a little bit about what Chip Kelly brings to the table. So what you're looking at here on the screen is Chip Kelly's offense's scoring rank. Look, I care most about scoring offense. I don't care about yards. The Texans had moments where they were tops in the league in yards. They were the top passing offense at one point in 2024. Converting yards into points is so important, and Chip Kelly's offenses have done that in his time and tenure as the mastermind of the offense. And you start to look at some of these NFL seasons. When he was with the Eagles, he took over an Eagles team that was bottom 4 in scoring offense the previous year, top 4 the first year he took over. His quarterbacks, Nick Foles and an aging Michael Vick. It was Nick Foles' second season in the NFL. It was the only year Foles made the Pro Bowl. Now that was propped up by Shady McCoy being the NFL rushing leader. 1,600 yards from Shady McCoy, and the Eagles ran it back with McCoy and company next year. 1,300 yards from Shady next year. And the quarterbacks, Nick Foles and Mark Sanchez, split time as the quarterbacks for Chip Kelly, and they got even better in their scoring offense ranking. Now, who the quarterbacks are is important, and I want to get to that a little bit later on. Sam Bradford finished up Kelly's tenure in Philadelphia because Chip Kelly took over as the general manager and made a bunch of decisions, including getting rid of LaShawn McCoy. It didn't go well. It was a disaster. He got fired at the end of the year, was immediately hired in San Francisco, and that didn't go good. That was not good in San Francisco. So Chip Kelly takes a couple of years off. He gathers himself, takes over for UCLA, and he's really good as the Bruins head coach. I mean, UCLA has a few disadvantages compared to some of the other teams in the Pac-12, but they certainly have a lot of advantages, and his best seasons were his 4th and 5th season at the helm for UCLA, and that was the 8th and 13th best scoring offense in football. They started 98th when he got there. They were 20th by 2020. Then it was 13th, and then they finished up 70th in 2023 before he pops over to the Ohio State University. So he leaves a head coaching job for an offensive coordinator job. Now, mind you, one of the best offensive coordinator jobs in all of college football, and maybe one of the best offensive coordinator jobs in all of football, period. And the Ohio State Buckeyes have an incredibly successful season. There was a little hiccup there against Michigan, and Chip Kelly's a part of the hiccup where he sort of forgot that superstar freshman wide receiver Jeremiah Smith existed, and he just didn't get the ball to Jeremiah Smith. But ultimately, they turned into an offensive juggernaut in the playoffs. They ran through teams like a hot knife through butter and won themselves a national championship. So here are some of the big pros that jump out for me with Chip Kelly for the Texans' potential offensive coordinator spot. Hey, quick pop in here to tell you about my friends at Prize Picks. They're going to give you $50 when you play your first 5 after you use the code STOOTS, STOOTS, when you get signed up. We'll put a Prize Picks entry together at the end. Stay tuned to the end of this video. One of the biggest pros for me is experience for Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly has probably called more overall offensive plays than some of these guys have been in the NFL for total snaps. So like Nick Caley or Dave Ragone, or like some of these guys, they've been on offensive staffs for however many years. Chip Kelly's probably called more plays than they've been on offensive staff snaps. Like, that's how much experience he has. And amongst potential experienced candidates, I feel like he has not only the longest resume, but the most successful resume in calling offense. Now, I say potential because Mike McCarthy's out there. He's got a Super Bowl under his belt. The Cowboys had a couple of really awesome offenses under him. I don't think Mike McCarthy's taken an offensive coordinator job. Mike McCarthy hadn't been a coordinator in 20 years. He got head coach interviews after he got fired in Dallas or his contract expired, whatever the terminology they want to use in the DFW is. But Mike McCarthy's not a realistic offensive coordinator option. Chip Kelly is. He left a head coach job to be an offensive coordinator. And that's another element that's a pro for Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly may not have the desire to go and be a head coach again. Sure, if the opportunity presented itself and it was just right, you'd probably listen if you're Chip Kelly. But it's not like Chip Kelly was in some sort of coaching carousel in college after a successful football season. It's not like Chip Kelly has gotten a bunch of teams knocking down his door to be a head coach. Heck, there were a bunch of head coach openings in the NFL. His name wasn't even murmured once when it came to potentially hiring him as a head coach. So a pro for Chip Kelly is he might be around for a few years. You might be able to build something incredible for a few years with Chip Kelly. If you get one of the best young offensive minds, they're awesome for you for a year. They might be a head coach the very next year. Ask the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's happened to them twice, back-to-back years. Dave Canales, Liam Cohen, they coordinate a good offense in Tampa Bay. They're a head coach for another team in the very next season. If you get a young guy, that could happen for you if you're the Texans. If you get Chip Kelly, that's probably not something that you have to worry about. One more pro for Chip Kelly is the quarterbacks that he's worked with haven't been the most amazing quarterbacks. I gave you the quarterbacks in Philadelphia: Sam Bradford, Nick Foles, Mark Sanchez, an aging Michael Vick, Will Howard at the college level for Ohio State, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, DTR at UCLA. None of these guys had superstar potential or even star potential. CJ Stroud probably does have star potential and hopefully has superstar potential. Certainly the impressive 2023 lent us to believe he had star potential. 2024, a little bit of dip from 2023, regression in some areas for CJ Stroud. So maybe he's a little bit further from being a star, but the potential still exists. And you give Chip Kelly that type of player, that type of quarterback, and he has not usually been able to coach a big time superstar or star potential quarterback. That gets me really excited about maybe even getting even more out of what Chip Kelly has been able to bring to the table. One of the things that I would say is kind of a positive and maybe a little bit of negative as we go into the cons here about Chip Kelly. Well, one of the cons would be that it's also a pro. He loves to run the football. And I just don't know if the Houston Texans can, in one season, equip him with the right players to run the football effectively. Joe Mixon obviously is fantastic, but Joe Mixon at this stage of his career is not prime LaShawn McCoy when Chip had all the success in the NFL the previous time. And this offensive line, it doesn't exactly come off as five big nasties that are ready to just plow through some people. They had a moment here and there where it looked like there was some juice to this rushing attack, and maybe that's not something that you need to worry about too much. Here's an actual con for Chip Kelly. I think he's really hard to get, and I don't know that he's ready to leave Ohio State. So I think there's two factors with the Ohio State situation that are a con for Kelly that make it hard to get him. The con is he might be content and happy. This is Ohio State. They start the year every year with the deck stacked in their favor, and really only 7 or 8 other schools can have the type of roster that Ohio State has. Being an offensive coordinator in college, it's not as difficult or time-consuming as it used to be. He's not having to go into people's houses eat mama's cooking and try to sell the kid on coming to Columbus, Ohio. They have people talk to the kid's representation, sign the NIL deal, and the kid shows up on campus. There's a whole lot less legwork to the offensive coordinator spot in college. So it's not this grueling 24/7, constantly calling the kid, constantly texting the kid situation that it used to be in college. There's a lot of, hey, we're Ohio State, we got big money, and that's not stuff that Chip Kelly has to worry about doing. People take care of that for him. Oh, the other element of him being at Ohio State is it's a juggernaut. Why not add to the resume even more? Look, you've already won one national championship. You're going to bring back a lot of those players on offense. Some impressive players are going to start to step up. They're going to add more good players. He'll swap out his quarterback and get a new one, probably one of the top transfers or previously one of the top recruits. And you're right there. Again, it's a little bit of an easier job. And not everybody, especially later in the career, wants a huge challenge. Some people want the appropriate level of challenge. And then the final thing is I don't think you can money whip Chip Kelly. I don't believe that Chip Kelly can be pried away from Ohio State with just money. He currently reportedly makes $2 million as the offensive coordinator for Ohio State. In 2024, Front Office Sports reported the highest paid coordinator in the NFL was Todd Monken at $3 million. So you might have to double Chip Kelly's salary, turn it into, say, $4 million. That's $1 million more than one of the best offensive coordinators in all of football that's already proven they can do it at the NFL level, like Todd Monken. It's a lot of money. The Texans have it, certainly. They've got the money. They've never been afraid to write a check. But you can't pry him away with a financial incentive. You're going to have to make it feel like that's exactly what Chip Kelly needs to do with his next step in his football career. And of course, DeMeco Ryans played for Chip Kelly. Maybe there's a little bit of appealing to his former boss and now being Chip Kelly's boss. And of course, there was the previous relationship between Ryan Day and Chip Kelly that Chip Kelly seemed to enjoy. So maybe there's a little bit of good feelings that can help convince Chip Kelly to leave what is a very cushy and rewarding spot as the Ohio State Buckeyes offensive coordinator. What say you? Chip Kelly at the top of your list. Can the Texans pry him away? Do you like what he has put together as an offensive mind? Let me know in the comment section down below. On your way down there, throw me a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And of course, be on the lookout for fantastic SNL content. Subscribe to that channel. It's the combo channel I do with myself and Landry Locker of the Locker Room. It's great stuff there. We will have plenty for you over the course of this offensive coordinator search, and I'll have plenty for you right here as well and on Houston football. Appreciate you watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I can't wait until we talk Texans again soon. Prize Picks, the best and easiest way to play daily fantasy, and football season is almost over, but they got so many different things, hockey and basketball. When baseball's here, they'll have that for you as well. Prize Picks, it's very simple. You're just predicting more or less than a given stat. You put it together in an entry, and if you get them all correct, you win. Or maybe you flexed your entry and you just get a few of them correct and you still win. That's how great Prize Picks is. You don't even have to get your full entry correct to make a winner. But let's try to make a winner right now with those two football games. And you see all the different stats that you can go through and you can predict. Look at this. Let's go to the touchdowns. I like to talk about guys scoring touchdowns. Saquon Barkley is definitely getting into the end zone there. Okay, Saquon Barkley into the end zone. I really like Josh Allen to get in the end zone. Tough, hard-nosed defense from Kansas City. They may need to use Josh Allen's legs, though. Whew, he is not afraid to send that thing with his arm. And I like James Cook to get in the end zone as well. And how about a revenge touchdown in a revenge game? How about Zach Ertz to score a touchdown? If we could get all these guys to score a touchdown, we could turn our $5 into $55. It is that simple. It is that easy with my friends at Prize Picks. Let's put that entry together. Heck, we're still going to win even if 3 of these guys score a touchdown. Prize Picks, the best and easiest way to play daily fantasy. And you're going to get 50 free bucks when you play your first 5 when you sign up with my code Stoots, STOOTS. Link in the description down below. Should autofill the code. If not, STOOTS. Play your first 5. Get 50 bucks headed your way thanks to my friends at Prize Picks. Football's almost over. Oh, no. Maybe we'll still have to put together some hockey ones or maybe some basketball ones, but we had a football one here for you. Enjoy, and maybe you disagree with me and you want to go oppo me. That's worked out for some people too over the course of the season. Appreciate you watching the video. Appreciate you supporting Prize Picks, who supports the channel, and have some fun with the best and easiest way to play daily fantasy. It's my friends at Prize Picks.